like what Varia, excuse me, is a pretty common ban. She's just extremely broken, weapon power or crystal power. So probably gonna see something like a Churnwalker being banned next, following the meta.
Yeah, Varia Churnwalker, very typical bans. A lot of your top tier picks in the current meta. Just Churnwalker, great all around roam, being able to get those hook and chains off to get that continuous damage, as well as being able to just kind of chain that damage between them. But if you can place a really good trespass in there, then you've got a really good Churnwalker.
All right, and we see Blackfeather being the first pick for Login Station. A very safe first pick. Blackfeather is super flexible. And Grace, the first pick for Phantom Memory.
Yeah, I think a really solid first pick you can do on side B gives you a nice roam. Like you said, having that great frontliner, having that holy shield from the benediction, and then having the divine retribution, giving that all direction holy shield, giving him a little bit of that defense and that heal is just really strong in Grace, and just being able to dive in and just take a lot of that damage is really helpful in these fights.
Yeah, especially against a Blackfeather who either weapon power or crystal power, as we see Taka getting banned here. Blackfeather can be played in 4 different positions realistically. Weapon power, crystal power, jungle lane, and any of those combinations. And pairing him with a Taka in the jungle would just be ridiculous amounts of damage. So a good respect ban coming out of Phantom Memory here.
Yeah, for sure. Taka, a really strong pick nowadays. Just having the new rework, well, not new rework, it happened a few patches ago, but the rework with Clockwork, making it so you have a lot more cooldowns happening. It just makes it a lot more efficient, and having that base 60 power damage just gets you in there doing damage, constantly getting out with your Kaku, and you're able to just bob and weave, and just slowly chip them down.
Yeah, we see Ringo being banned here from Login Station, arguably one of the best laners this patch for the first time in a long time, not wanting to give that over to Phantom Memory, especially if you can get stunned up, that the breaking point that Ringo will sure get will just shred all of your carries. So dipping a little bit into extra time as Vox is the second pick. Again, super safe laner. Not really giving anything away with this draft. The jungler on B side is usually best left as the last pick.
Yeah, I mean, leaving your jungler for the last pick on B side is just really strategic because it gives you that last opportunity to get that counter in. Your jungler can't be countered because, I mean, there's no more picks. You're legit the last pick, so you got that advantage to kind of look at the enemy comp, see what would work against it, and what would kind of pair good with your team to get into those weak defenses of the enemy and just kind of bring your game out on top.
Yeah, we see Arden being picked up here for Login Station. Blackfeather Arden has been a staple for a pretty long time, as you can just provide that Vanguard shielding so that Blackfeather can just stick onto his targets. And we see Skye here, pretty good pick. If I'd like to see Phantom Memory pick up something like a Ryan here, or Batiste, someone with a lot of CC that can lock down these hyper mobile carries so that they can't just have free roam and harass your entire team.
Yeah, definitely. And Arden just really strong with the Blackfeather because, like you said, that barrier going onto the Blackfeather gets him in there into the fight, but it's a second barrier on top of that on point coming out from the Blackfeather's B. And so having that double barrier in these fights is just really strong, keeps him alive and gets him in there doing damage. And like you said, there's the Baptiste pickup, really strong because you get that Ordain onto the Skye, and it kind of limits her Surrey strike. You get it onto a reddish Surrey, mobilize her enough to get some nice damage in there.
Yep, exactly how I predicted. Batiste going to be the final pick, the uncounterable pick, if you will. And as we get ready to get into this game here, who do you think has the better draft so far?
I think I'm gonna have to give it to side B. I really like that Vox Baptiste Grace combo. Vox Grace is just really strong in general. Being able to get in there, you get a shiv on the Vox, especially against this Black Feather combo, or against the Black Feather. You get a shiv in there, you get some nice sustain. Being able to get in there with a shiv breaking point and a little bit of crit or maybe a Sorrow Blade to start stacking that damage. The divine or the Holy Shield coming out from Grace along with the Divine Retribution, just keeping him up and keeping him full health for long periods of time in these fights gets him dealing that damage, getting those breaking point stacks up, and eventually start melting them down.
All right, with our draft complete, we're looking to get into this first game here. Login Station versus Team Phantom Memory.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Really strong comps on both sides. Could be anybody's game, but definitely looking to see who gets this one on top for game one.
Yeah, gonna look probably for some heavy aggression like we've seen this past couple days in NACL. Probably not gonna give Colorcaster a whole lot to talk, but we're gonna get ready to load into this game. Itemization-wise, who do you think is going to be the stronger one here?
Well, I think Login Station is going to have a little bit of an advantage this early game. I like the mobility on the sky. Once they hit that level 2, being able to go in and out with the forward barrages and the Surrey Strikes, while they have that good early aggression with that Grace for Phantom Memories, the mobility on the sky followed up by that Vanguard and the on point by the Black Feather. I think they have a little bit of an advantage in these fights to just get that chip damage off and just slowly take them down early on in this game.
I'd actually disagree with you here. I think Batiste has a better early game, especially before Blackfeather gets his Rose Offensive. He won't be able to dodge out of the Ordained until he gets a reflex block. So if Batiste can land his Ordains, and then if Rip can get his silences down on Vox, that can be a huge CC combo, because once you take away the mobility of this comp, they become a whole lot easier to deal with.
Yeah, that is true. But I like them on Login Station going for that mid tree in early game, trying to get that early advantage off onto Phantom Memories since they have that good early game push with the Baptiste Grace. Really good idea for them to do that.
Yep, we see Phantom Memory here just kind of taking a 3-man slow push instead of the aggressive roamer and then letting your carries get level 2, as we see a full 3-man rotation. This could be a bit of an early push, especially as Blue and Archer are porting back already.
Yeah, just the early game farming going on right now. A little bit of damage. Ooh, man, that Ordain or not Ordain. Yep, Bad Mojo. Gosh, spent way too long. Haven't seen a Baptiste in a while. But yeah, that Bad Mojo doing some nice damage. Nice damage coming out from the Bad Mojo onto Habs, getting him down half health. But there's a forward barrage going off from Archmage onto Motivus, so doing some nice damage, chipping him down a bit. And Elijah looking to come down. There goes the Ordain, going to follow it up by a Bad Mojo, not going to be able to get too much off. The forward barrage is going to do a big chunk. Surrey striking into the fray. Nice Vanguard coming out, but it looks like Elijah is going to be able to back off. Motivus doing a bunch of body blocking there. Good job on his part, but Archmage looking to take some of this farm.
Yeah, Elijah seems to be overstaying his welcome a little bit.
Nice Surrey strike out of the Holy Nova, and Grace is going to go down. Flask coming out from Habs is going to bring him back up. Flask coming out from Mage, but he's going to go down from the Baptiste. Elijah, though, is going to be able to get finished off by the Black Feather, and that's going to be a 2-1 trade for Login Station. Habs looking to take some of this farm from them and get them that early lead.
Yeah, it started looking pretty good for Phantom Memory. Archmage was getting extremely low, but the damage coming from the perfect 3-man rotation was just too strong, and the Ordain has a pretty long cooldown also at level 2, so if you can't get that first CC combo to finish off your target, then you're pretty much out of that CC tool for a decent amount of time, and that's exactly what happened to see that combo down.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of the early damage coming out from Blur on that Black Feather because of those Heartthrob stacks, gives you that nice early damage, and just the coordination coming out from the Story Strikes forward barrages just gets some nice damage from Archmage, and they're going to be able to target lock. Ordain is going to try to lock down Archmage, but she's just going to stay in there and fire off some forward barrage. A little back and forth jabbing at both sides, but it looks like we're going to come at a little bit of a standstill right now.
Yep, we see a bit of an action here as Login Station is lower on health right now, and especially with a wave push, this would be a great opportunity for these carries to rotate down, especially with shop opening, and getting that early first item can be huge against this comp.
Yeah, and Phantom Memories being able to take that last Elder Treant before the jungle shop comes up is going to give them a little bit of that extra push. Archmage is coming down in that rotation, though, as the shop comes up, so it looks like he's going to be able to get that first buy coming out in the jungle.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see which one he picks up. Instead of opting for just a heavy prism and an O-cart especially, looking like to build an early reflex block against Elijah. I think that's an extremely smart move, as Blue picks up a Serpent Mask for his first item.
Yeah, Serpent's Mask really strong on that Black Feather, especially being in that lane against a Vox. Vox having that little bit of a range advantage on him. You want to be able to keep that health up and sustain enough in these fights. But we see the Shiv being picked up by Vox. Really good against the Black Feather, because Black Feather almost always goes lifesteal for the most part. And so being able to knock down the amount of lifesteal coming out from that Serpent's Mask is just a really strong pickup.
Yep, a little bit
So
of
we're going to see the Ordain
happening.
come out. Is going to lock Archmage down. Holy Nova is not going to connect. Story Strike coming down is going to do some damage onto Motivus. Motivus is going to get low, but it's going to be able to pop his flask, and he's going to be able to get out. Archmage getting really low. Bad Mojo coming down is going to land on the Blur. On point, not going to connect. And they're just going to keep pushing and getting that poke damage off from Elijah with those Bad Mojos. Ordain's going to come out onto Blur, and he's going to go in with the on point. The Benediction coming down is not quite going to take him out, and he's going to pop the fountain, bringing Blur back up to pretty much full health.
Yep, as we see.
Oh, there goes the Faint of Heart. Oh, Death from Above, but he's going to be able to Sonic Zoom out of there. Ran. Darthric with a great reaction time there. Sonic zooming out of that Death from Above just in time to keep from getting stunned and possibly killed in this fight.
Oh, man, that's like 3 fights to break down right there. You saw the early item spike for Darth Rick actually coming in clutch, that the Shiv was able to cut so much healing, and especially since Grace has only just bought right now, that was an extremely important fight for them to not lose anybody, and they did do just that. Nobody died, so I would say it was a net gain for Phantom Memory. They just have to be a bit more aggressive, I feel like, in this early game, as Sky's got her ult now. Blackfeather's got his ult. Before the gauntlet comes online, I feel like they need to do one big push here.
Yeah, for sure. Now that they have the Dragon's Eye coming out on Baptiste, he's going to be able to get that Bad Mojo out, poking a lot, and start building up stacks from that poke damage, and possibly dealing a lot of damage when he's empowered.
Yep. Sky has 1,500 gold in the bank, and it seems she will be porting back instead of rotating, possibly got a glimpse of that Vox, but she will also pick up a Dragon's Eye for her first item.
We just see the Ordain coming out onto the Black Feather. Bad Mojo is going to do about 399 damage, but not going to do enough. But he's taken down by that Vox. The breaking point coming into effect, doing a good amount of damage. Blur is going to be able to sidestep that Fearsome Shade, though, and getting caught in the Gauntlet stun. Dark Rith is going to get low. He's going to go down from the forward barrage. Oh my goodness, Archmage and Blue are both getting really low. He's going to be able to reflex block that Bad Mojo and keep Blur alive. Really good engage there by Archmage going onto the Vox and that gauntlet placement. Whew, spicy.
Oh yeah, Darth Rick stayed alive way longer than he should have in that fight. The fountain and the reflex block and all of that keeping him alive. But we saw that Habs and Blur were so low. One more Bad Mojo would have probably killed them both, but they couldn't finish the kills. And Phantom Memory, with the amount of sustain that Login Station has, they need to focus finishing off the kills once they get a good CC chain, especially that Rick now has his breaking point. In order, that's their win condition right now.
Oh man, Rose Offensive coming in is going to do some nice damage on Darth Rick, but it's a nice bait because Divine Retribution comes out and the Holy Nova is going to cordon Blackfeather back towards the fight. and Habs is going to get low, is going to be able to get out, but Bloor gets taken out in the crossfire.
Yep, there goes the finishing kill.
Ooh, there goes the Ordain coming out from Elijah, going in for the kill. The reflex block is going to be able to block it, but Darth Rick going to do some nice damage from those breaking point stacks, and they're going to be able to finish him off with a bad mojo coming out from Elijah. Looks like they're going to be able to take the first turret in this fight.
Yeah, Motivus having extremely good Holy Nova placement it's really been allowing Rick to stack up so much. And now that Motivus has an Atlas Pauldron as his second item instead of a Crucible, now he's thinking of diving onto Bloor and just deleting him first, because they know that he can escape the Ordain now with his Rose offensive. So if they can jump him and disarm that target, then you just lock down Sky, and it's just playing cleanup crew from then on.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like they're going to be able to rotate up here, 3-man bunch in a 3v2 right now. Baptiste going for the backs. Bloor looking to do some nice damage. Death from above is going to get blocked by the reflex block. Sturdy Strike trying to do some nice damage. Forward Barrage is going to hit on Motivus, but not quite going to take Darth Rick down. Sturdy Strike, though, is going to connect, and he's going to get low. But there goes the Divine Retribution coming out from Motivus. Going to lock onto the Black Feather. Atlas is going to get popped. Fearsome Shade is going to knock Habs back a bit, but the Forward Barrage is going to be able to stick on to Darth Rick, and Darth Rick goes down, and we're down to a 3v2 right here in favor of Login Station.
Yeah, we saw their Sky getting full Dragon Eye stacks.
Oh my goodness, the predictions by Elijah is doing some nice damage. Death from above, though, is not quite going to connect. Forward Barrage doing some nice damage, and they're going to try to get Elijah. Black Feather going in is going to be able to finish him off. And are they looking for the ace? No, Darth Rick is actually coming in. He's going to look to do some nice damage. Bloor is not going to connect with the on point, and he's not going to have that barrier to help him out. Going to pop that healing flask. Wait for it. Is going to come down. Silence him. Habs trying to get him out of there, but Darth Rick just building up those stacks on that breaking point and looking to secure this kill, but they're going to back off, knowing Sky is down there, but not knowing that she ported back a few minutes ago.
Yeah, the Archmage was fully stacked in that fight almost before it even started, and Elijah only had a couple Dragon Eye stacks, so same with Rick. So he wasn't able to do his full potential damage, as Sky was already chunking out huge damage on her Forward Barrage, and she's maxed out Surrey Strike, which means she's going to go in favor for more mobility, and especially with those rockets starting to slam down, with some full Dragon Eye stacks, that's going to really start to hurt.
Yeah, you saw in that last fight the Surrey Strike going above Darth Rick, and those missiles hitting and taking him down by almost half health just with those stacks. Death from above is going to come down, though, not quite going to connect onto Motivus. Forward Barrage looking to build up some stacks. Is going to pop the Atlas. Is going to land on both Black Feather and Sky, but Archmage getting really low. Is going to be able to block the Ordain, though, stay outside of the gauntlet, do some nice damage. And looking to go back in, Darth Rick is going to go down, though, from the Feint of Heart coming out from Bloor. Those broken heart stacks going to do some nice damage. But the bad mojo coming out from Elijah with the empowerment is going to do some nice damage and finish off that Black Feather.
Yeah.
Oh, nice Vanguard going through the wall and dodging that bad mojo. Really good job by them.
Yeah, stacks was the name of the game again. Archmage and Bloor were fully stacked again, as Darth Rick was just struggling to get his stacks on breaking point, as just too much damage was hitting him at once, where he had to back off, and Grace couldn't provide as much body blocking or CC that she wanted to, because she's forced to use Divine Intervention to heal him up. And with the Echo almost online for Grace, that will hopefully happen less often, and she can stay in the fights more.
Yeah, for sure. But you do see big effect coming in with Elijah now that he has that clockwork. Bad mojos and Ordains coming out a lot more often in these fights, so he's being able to get that sustain off more, and that's going to dish out a lot more damage with these Dragon Eye stacks, and bringing it, you saw in that last fight, even though Darth Rick went down, he almost had all three of them.
Yeah, and we see Archmage has prioritized defense over a second offensive item, which I think is a bit questionable on Sky, because she wants that two items to really start doing a lot of damage, and that's putting her behind in her itemization, whereas Baptiste already has two items. So when Sky gets locked down by the Ordain, she's not going to have enough damage to push Phantom Memory away before that she gets taken out. So I really wish that she would have gotten that Clockwork second.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Having that defense, while it does knock down the damage a bit, if you don't have the damage to push back, it's not going to matter if you have defense because they're going to build up stacks and they're still going to burst you down faster than you can take them out because you don't have the damage to back up that defense.
Yep, we see Journey Boots being finished up for Vox. Obviously, he's prioritizing mobility as well, trying to stay away from Blackfeather, his only job is to stick to Vox, and Vox is making sure that that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and we do see the infusion pick up by Sky. We have a level 12 infusion on Sky as well as a level 11 infusion on both Blackfeather and Baptiste. So looking to possibly get a nice engage in the next few minutes here.
Yep. Login Station with a pretty good 3-man rotation here, but Phantom Memory is anticipating it, and they've already moved back to their own mustache bush. So all that Login Station is trying to do now is just clear the wave, and then hopefully they're waiting for Phantom Memory to overcommit so they can take advantage of that, and then hopefully delete all of their targets.
Yeah, definitely. And looking at the CS differences right now, we do see a huge item build difference between Bluer on that Blackfeather and Darthrick on that Vox. The almost 30 CS difference is showing a huge difference in these builds and the damage output coming up from both of these carries.
Yeah, Phantom Memory is only 2,000 gold behind, but that 2,000 seems to be all in Bluer's favor, as he's already got 2 defense and 2 offense items completed, and Darthrick only has a reflex block, 2 offensive items. So Blackfeather is looking like the more prepared carry in these fights, as Kraken will spawn up here. Phantom Memory is a turret up, but they're going to need this Kraken if they want to push, do a hard push to maybe take this game early.
Yeah, definitely. That early turret, while it's a good early game advantage, only having that 200 gold payout rather than the usual 300 is good for the early game, but now in the late game, you see the CS difference is what's giving them a little bit of the edge in these fights. Wait for it coming out is going to connect on all 3, but they're not going to be able to follow up on it. Ordain is going to come out on Habs, and he's going to get Atlas as well as the Blackfeather. Rose offensive going in, but he's going to get stunned out of the gauntlet by the Ordain. Really good Ordain placement on Elijah there, and he's going to be able to shut down that control from the gauntlet. Forward barrage is coming out. Death from above is not going to connect on everybody, and you see massive damage coming out. Another divine intervention coming out from Grace onto Elijah. Vox tried to stick onto that Grace. Benediction is going to come down. Holy Nova is going to stun both Blackfeather and Arden, but they're going to be able to take down the Vox, and the Death from above is going to lock onto that Baptiste. Baptiste able to finish off Sky, but Bluer is going to be able to take him down, and that's going to be a nice turret that they're going to be able to get here most likely.
Oh man, Motivus, his Holy Nova placement was just so on point in that fight. If Darthrick had survived maybe 10 seconds longer, I think that fight definitely goes Phantom Memory's way. They were doing such a good job of removing so much of the sustain, because when the target is stunned, they're not able to build stacks on their stacking items, and when they're not able to build stacks, they can't do damage. And if Bluer on this hyper mobile Blackfeather, if he can't move, that's half of his half of his necessary that he will use to be effective. And we see vision being prioritized for Motivus. That's a good thing, especially since the Kraken's now on the board.
Yeah, for sure. They're definitely looking to bring these fights closer to the Kraken because we're at that part of the game here at the 17-minute mark that first Kraken push is going to be the tide that's going to turn the point of this game towards one team or the other. Because getting that first Kraken push gets you those first 2 turrets up to that choke point possibly and can just turn the tide heavily in your favor.
Yeah, we just see a bit of a poke war coming out here. Nothing too serious. No team willing to overcommit diving onto the other. Because if Login Station tries to dive, they have Ordained, they have Fearsome Shade, they have a lot of tools that they can use to disengage. but those tools can
Lure
also
coming
be
from
used.
behind is going to try to lock him down. Fearsome Shade is going to get blocked. Forward Barrage coming down. Death from above is going to lock down onto the Baptiste. Gauntlet does go off this time, though. Surrey Strike is going to go down, doing some nice damage on Baptiste. Divine Intervention is going to come out, but Baptiste is still going to go down from the sky. Massive stacks coming down, and Darth Rick is next. Motivus, the only one left, and he's going to get slowed down by the on point, and that's going to be... Is that going to be an ace? Are they going to be able to get him? Holy Nova comes down. That is going to be able to stun him. Death from above is not going to take him out. The turret shot's coming out. Holy Nova is going to come down. And oh my goodness, Motivus trying to get out of there and get a kill, but not going to be able to finish him off. And that's going to be an ace as well as the first Kraken for Login Station. So they're going to be able to take out this first Kraken here, get a nice push going, minions doing some nice damage on this turret. Motivus doing a good job, though, with that Holy Nova under the turret, just surviving as long as he could to just subtract the amount of time Kraken has to push down this lane and give them time to just reduce its health and make sure it pushes as little as possible so they can kind of turn this back in their favor. So we do see Broken Myth is going to come out on Archmage now, and that's going to do a lot more damage in these fights, being able to pierce through that Aegis on both Elijah and Darth Rig. Death from above is going to come down. Forward Barrage fully onto Elijah. The Fearsome Shade comes down, is going to connect onto Habs, but not really going to do much, and Elijah is just really low right now. Kraken is going to be able to finish off that turret, and he's trying to keep Elijah from porting, but the Forward Barrage not quite going to connect because Motivus with the pro body blocking right there, and they're looking to get a nice push on this turret with this Kraken.
Yeah, that was a really nice push there from Login Station.
Oh,
as they
nice
just dive
Surrey
over
Strike
the wall.
over the wall. Get on Motivus, getting some nice stacks. Blackfeather locking onto the Baptiste. Baptiste goes down. Wait for it, is going to get blocked by the Crucible, and Motivus goes down. Darth Rick, the only one up. Death from above is going to come down. Is not quite going to connect. Looking to get a nice forward barrage off onto Darth Rick. Oh, man, the reflex block coming down. Will he be able to finish him off? Darth Rick going to boots into the Sanctuary just in time. Archer Mage really low. Darth Rick looking to come in and get some more damage off, try to take one of them out, but is just going to keep getting pushed back, and that's going to be another turret. Only one turret remaining. Death from above coming down is going to be a Surrey Strike away. Vanguard coming down is going to be able to keep him alive, and that might be game. Are they going to be able to do enough damage onto this Vein Crystal? Holy Nova coming down is going to get blocked by the Rose Offensive, and they're just focusing this crystal, and that's going to be game one for Login Station.
Wow, that was a really nice team fight. Archmage, oh my gosh, he was sitting on 2 health for the longest time. Props to Darth Rick for doing the best he could, but there was nothing really that he could do in that fight. The one saving grace I think that Phantom Memory had, ironically, was the Grace. Just the Holy Nova placement was so good that the targets that were trying to dive were getting stopped most of the time, but there was no follow-up from the carries of Phantom Memory, so they couldn't delete the heroes that they wanted fast enough. And I really think that's why they lost all of these fights, because the stacking was just too much coming out of Login Station, and their damage is overpowered.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the other key factors in this game was, like I said, the CS difference between the carries was able to get Blackfeather up to those 2 offensive items, 2 defensive items pretty quickly in that game. And so he was able to just out damage, go in and just frontline for their team with the defense coming out from the barrier on the Vanguard. And he was able to just dish out some damage. You saw at the end of that game, Vox still was just sitting on a Shiv and a breaking point with a heavy steel.
Yeah, Vox was getting extremely behind in farm. And, Vox can be decent with 2 items. It really requires more than that to do really anything useful. The Baptiste also was only sitting on 2 items, I believe, which really accounts for him sitting in lane a lot, trying to keep Vox alive, and Archmage was able to steal a lot of farm away from Phantom Memory, and I think that's where they got lost in the jungle, because if your jungler can scale really quickly, the jungler is usually a playmaker, and if your playmaker can't make plays, then, you know, your game's already lost.
Yeah, and actually, he was on 3 offensive items, but he was only on 1 defense item because he had the Broken Myth, Dragon's Eye, and Clockwork, but only had that Aegis. So you saw later in those fights, Blackfeather was able to hop onto the Baptiste and just take him down quickly. And even with that Aegis, the forward barrage, having those stacks from the Dragon's Eye, and then being able to pierce through with that Broken Myth was able to just melt him down, and they were losing their front line quickly. And Darth Rake would just not be able to hold them off on his own.
Yeah, good stuff coming out of both teams as we're looking to get ready to go into this second game here. Login Station is going to bring in a sub, iDark, for Archmage. So the sub, how do you think subs are going to play into this game here, Blake?
I think it's gonna have its pros and cons. One of the pros being, it's a new player in this best of 3 matchup. So Phantom Memories is not gonna be able to just take last game into effect to how like gameplay or maneuvers, strategies might form in this next game, this next match, because it's a fresh player, fresh mechanics, fresh reactions. So they're gonna have to play on their toes, be ready for anything, and just be on top of their game. But one of the cons is he wasn't in that last game, so he doesn't really have that personal experience playing against this other team, or just having that kind of warm up in that previous game to get him prepped up and just pumped up for game 2. But I think they'll still have a really strong chance, and just looking forward to this game too.
Yeah, we're gonna get the draft started up here. The first ban, you got Betts, Churnwalker, Varia. Yeah, hopefully, as we get into this draft here, probably gonna see Varia or a Churnwalker being banned first. They just really don't want to play against these heroes, and it's not really worth risking picking them up because then, as we see the Blackfeather actually being banned first.
I respect the Blackfeather ban because especially after that last game, you saw Blur on that Blackfeather. He was doing a really good job in just going in, sticking onto that carry or that jungler, just deciding who he needed to put that damage off, but also getting that first pick Blackfeather ban makes it so they have to choose: do they want to ban the Varia or ban the Churnwalker? And that gives you a great opportunity to pick up the other one. As you see, they pick up that Churnwalker there with the first pick, and that's just going to be a really strong roam for them in these fights.
Yep, the bans that we expected, Varia came out, and that gave Phantom Memory Churnwalker. Now, we don't know how good Motivist is on Churnwalker. He might just be playing the meta, or he could be a one-trick churn, as we see Grace, the other captain that we saw Phantom Memory play, being picked up by Station. Neither team really wanting to reveal anything about their draft, just playing it safe and keeping just the roams as their first pick.
Yep, just the typical you see, Grace, Churnwalker, just really strong roams in the meta currently, both against each other. You're gonna see the Taka ban, which is really respectable, because he's able to dodge those hooks with his constant movement from his perk, and being able to Kaku away and just stay hidden is just really hard to land those hook and chains on him. Oh wait, no, they banned. You know what? Ignore everything I just said.
I mean, I do that anyway, right?
Exactly. See, you just listen to my voice and you watch the game. That's all that happens.
Right. I mean, Taka wouldn't actually have been terrible if they would have let him go through, because if you can land that chain, if Taco decides to go invisible, then the chain is still attached to it. You can still see where Taka is gone, and so that can be really good in deleting him before he can do his huge combos. As we see Vox being the second ban here for Phantom Memory, really targeting the lane position we see.
Yeah, I mean, having both the Blackfeather and the Vox ban on the same side, but we're going to see that Ringo pickup, which I think is a really strong pick with the Grace. Having that good burst with his critical perk is just going to get some nice damage off on this Churnwalker if he does not keep that defense up. And can't wait to see the rest of these picks coming out from Phantom Memories.
Yep, Rona is going to be the second pick from Phantom Memory. Rona is probably going to be flexed into the lane here. She's just an extremely strong laner, especially as a melee. And hopefully we'll see like a petal maybe or some sort of there's the Sky, the other ranged jungler I was just about to say. Really, with a triple melee comp against a Ringo, there's no real way to dive him, so he can just kite all around the edge of fights. And I like that they brought Sky here because Sky, we saw, performed really well in the last game. And unless that login station can bring some sort of insane CC combo, I feel like Phantom Memory has a strong draft, a really strong draft right now.
Yeah, and Sky is just a really strong pick into a Roam Grace because Grace is all about diving in with that Benediction, popping off that Holy Nova to get that triple stun, that double stun, just mess up the enemy team with that AoE stun. But Sky being able to just sit there with the Suri Strike and just dodge out of these Holy Novas and just reposition herself to get a nice forward barrage off is just really strong in these fights.
Yeah, we see Batiste, the exact same counter pick that we saw last game. Do you think Login Station can do a better job than Phantom Memory here as we get into this second game? I feel like the CC might not be enough here from Login Station, just like we saw last game, Phantom Memory. The Blackfeather, or no, not the Blackfeather, the Batiste was really underperforming, I feel, in terms of damage output. So hopefully they can turn this one around as we're gonna get just about started here.
Yeah, definitely. I do like the difference though going with the Ringo instead of the Vox. Of course, Vox was banned, but Ringo is just into this comp a lot stronger because Sky is all about the mobility and just getting that damage off before you can get bursted down. But Ringo is really strong when it comes to when you get into that late game build, getting that double tyrants on top of a Sorrow Blade, being able to burst them down really quickly because of the critical damage coming off from his perk is just really strong and able to burst them down quickly. So they got to watch out for that damage coming out from Ringo.
Yeah, Ringo is going to be the major damage dealer, I feel, on the side of Login Station here, as we see a more aggressive Phantom Memory that we saw last game, instantly contesting this mid-treant as Idark and Blue are just staying back in their own jungle, coming back to front instead of front to back as Phantom Memory is doing. And hopefully Phantom Memory made that game time decision there to do their rotation so that Rona can now just flex up to the lane and get a bunch of push while Blue is still down taking farm.
Yeah, definitely. Going for that early treant, especially against this Baptiste comp, I think is, like I said in the last game, it's a really strong thing to do. It gets you that little bit of an early damage or early farm that you need. But the Ordain coming out, you see that level 2 advantage coming more like for an advantage them going with that rotation from the backs going forward. You get that level 2 a lot faster and you're able to engage like that. And you saw how fast Arthur Rick went down in his health because he couldn't get out of that Ordain. He didn't have his jump. He couldn't have an escape or anything.
Yeah, and that's where the early push turret can come back to bite you. Darth Rick, now back at full health because of his Book of Eulogies, but that could have been scary had it been a little bit later and he had not had that jump. As we see the second treant getting just started up by Phantom Memory here, they seem to be in control of this early game jungle.
Yeah, for sure. Being able to take that second Elder Treant is going to give Elijah a good little bit of an advantage here. You do see their farm is pretty equal, but Bluer, able to stay up there in the lane, though, when they rotated down for that Elder Treant, is getting a bit of a farm advantage. He's going to be able to dodge that hook and chain and get out of there with the Twirling Silver. Bluer, or Habs going in with the Benediction to try to do some nice damage onto Motivus, and the hook and chain not quite going to connect. But it's just going to be back to farming here for both of these carries.
Yeah, Idark has had one more shop than anyone else, so I would really like to see him come up and try to take a bit more push from Phantom Memory, especially because Elijah hasn't
Oh,
fought
into the
yet.
fray coming out is going to do some nice damage onto Bluer. The Holy Nova not quite going to connect. Surrey Strike going in. Bluer going really low, but is going to be able to pop that healing flask. Habs getting some body blocking in to block that forward barrage, keep Bluer alive. There comes Dark. He's going to go in with the Ordain, try to lock down Motivus, but is going to stay alive, having that backup from Darth Rick and Elijah. The bad mojo, though, is going to connect, taking Elijah down pretty low and doing some nice damage in these fights.
Yeah, nobody dying there, but certainly scary as we see Elijah getting jumped on and deleted. Yeah, just a bad rotation there by Elijah. He was taking his treant instead of being a little bit more passive, and Dark was able to just clean it up and take the second mid treant, which gives him a level advantage and just more damage overall, especially as Elijah has only just shopped right now, and Dark already had 2 crystal bits, an hourglass, and a battery, which meant he had a lot more in his disposal as utility wise. As we see this turret taking just a little bit of damage, but Blue will port back and pretty much pick up his first damage item.
Yeah, there goes the spell sword first item. Definitely a common pick you see nowadays with Ringo being able to get that twirling silver and the slow from the Achilles shot off more often because of that cooldown. And that little bit of energy regen is just a lot of help on Ringo when farming these lanes or in these team fights.
Yep, we see aggressive positioning here by Elijah. Maybe Phantom Memory is going to do some sort of team fight here, but they're going to be forced to back around their own mustache bush as this turret siege is just keep coming on from Login Station.
Yeah, Blue are doing a good job pushing this lane. The CS though is a lot more even in this fight in this game than last game. We see Darth Rick sitting at 47, Blue at 45, so pretty neck and neck here. Not too much of a difference. Gold is pretty even on both sides with only a 1 kill advantage for Login Station. Oh, into the fray coming out is going to be able to get in there onto the Darth Rig. The pole is going to bring them back, but not going to get them into that forward barrage damage. Blue are doing some nice damage off with those basic attacks. The spell sword coming in with that nice poke. Oh, and there's the fearsome shade. It's going to be able to stun, get all of them feared, and the bad mojo is going to be able to finish off that sky, and that's going to be another kill for Login Station.
Yeah, here we see the item spike starting to hurt as Darth Rick, within an inch of his life, able to jump away. But that fight just went. They were bunched up in the lane, and that's exactly where Ringo and Batiste both want to fight, because Ringo can just spit down those basic attacks, and Batiste can lock you down and throw that
and there goes the
damage.
Ordain on Motivus is going to try to lock him down. Death from above, not quite going to connect, but they're going to be able to burst Motivus down with that damage coming out from Ringo, and it's going to be a 3v2, even though Blur and Habs are low. There comes the Hellfire Brew onto the sky, followed by the Benediction. They're going to be able to burst him down. The Fearsome Shade not even needed in that fight. Holy Nova is going to be able to stun Darth Rick, and that's going to be... Oh, is it going to be an ace? No, Darth Rick is going to try to get out of there, but the basic attack, bad mojo, going to finish him off. Not quite an ace. Good job stalling that out long enough for Motivus to come back up.
Yeah, Darth Rick did the best he could trying to stall, but his team was just not able to get back in time for him, as Elijah's got his Oak-Heart. Again, this guy is going to be focusing a reflex block against the Batiste as a Goldmine gets started up here. Motivus trying to contest, but I don't think he can do really much here. Yeah, Ringo's going to pick up that Goldmine.
Yeah, he got that hook and chain off onto the gold mine, looking to maybe pull it for that last bit of chip damage in to try to steal it, but isn't quite going to be able to pull that off. But it was a good effort by him.
All right. 5-0 now, the kill lead, as Darth Rick avoids that Holy Nova, but Habs, both of these captains have shown really exceptional grace play. Their Holy Novas have stunned up at the right time. Darth Rick getting stunned out of his red mist. And
Hellfire Brew coming down, though, is going to land onto Darth Rick. He's looking to deal some damage. Into the fray coming out, though, is going to lock him into the corner. Forward Barrage coming out. Divine intervention is gonna keep Blur alive, and he's gonna be able to get out of there. Eye Dart coming in to do some nice damage with those bad mojos, just trying to get some poke damage off. And going with the first item, Clockwork, to get those bad mojos off more often rather than the Dragon's Eye, I think is a really interesting pick, but is doing some nice damage and keeping him alive with that sustain.
Yeah, that triple Holy Nova Stun, which was allowed Blue to get away, and now he's ported and is back at full health for this fight here.
Ordain coming out. Death from above is not going to land on Eye Dart, but the forward barrage is going to be able to finish him off. Ringo is going to be able to take down Rona, though, and forward barrage coming down, not quite going to take out Blue. We're doing some nice damage, though, taking him half health. Motive is getting really low. The Trespass coming down is going to stun, but Blue is going to be able to pop off the Healing Flask, and he's going for the kill on Elijah. That Tyrant's Monocle with the Spell Sword is just doing a lot of damage, but Elijah almost able to get away. The boots coming out from Blur is going to be able to finish him off, and it's going to make this an 8-1 kill lead for Login Station.
That Sturdy Strike positioning was so good. He put down a lot of damage on the Habs and almost finished him off, but it was just a couple too short, as there wasn't really a whole lot he could do against that huge weapon power Ringo, and he's got no defense. Blue only has a Spell Sword, Tyrants, and then building towards another Tyrants, but he doesn't need defense. He's doing enough damage to push away the members of Phantom Memory, and with Reflex Blocks already purchased for both carries, that's 700 gold that they've been set back that could have been used for defense items, but it's such a necessity for them that they're just falling behind as it's now 8-1 with 3,000 gold in the deficit.
Yeah, and Blur just doing a good job with his build, not needing the defense because he's got that front line from both Grace and Baptiste. They're doing a great job. Benediction and the bad mojos coming out. Fearsome Shade not quite going to connect. Elijah on the edge of his life right now is going to be able to get out, but it's going to make this a 2v3 right now.
Yeah, Chernwalker is such a good captain these days, but with the grouping up
into
of
the fray
fights,
coming out, followed by the red mist. He's going to try to get Bluer down, but the divine intervention is going to be able to get him back up to half health. And Bluer is going to turn this fight around, doing some nice damage onto Rona. The hook and chain coming out, though, and Ringo going to be able to finish him off. Death from above coming down is not quite going to kill him. Fountain coming off, Fearsome Shade not going to connect to anybody. Darth Rick is going to go down to Bluer. Can he finish off the Sky? Sky is going to go down, but it's going to take Ringo with him, but that's going to be an ace for Login Station.
Yeah, that's got to be at least a turret and a gold mine here. Bluer is honestly my MVP for these two matches. He's just done so much good work on Ringo and Blackfeather last game that he doesn't need defense. He's just doing so much incredible damage, and with his captain Habs just landing those perfect Holy Novas, it's allowing him to shine just as well as he wants to. And Darth Rick is jumping into the fray and popping that red mist like he is supposed to as Rona, but he's either getting stunned or he's having to pop that reflex block so that now Dark can ordain him, and then it's just game over from there.
Yeah, and as I was saying earlier, you got the Holy Shield coming out from Grace is just giving him that little bit of defense that he needs, because you see he's melting him down so fast. The defense that he doesn't have is not really being missed because of that Holy Shield, and the great placements by the Holy Nova is just doing great in these fights. And they're going to come up from behind onto Bluer. Bluer is just going to be able to kite his way away from Darth Rick. Divine Intervention coming down is going to bring him back up to full health, but they're going to lock on him. Holy Nova is going to get blocked by the Crucible. Darth Rick does go down. Trespass is going to try to stun him, but Sky is going to finish him off. Eye Dart coming in, though, to try and take down the Sky. Death from above is going to land, get the stun off, but he's going to be able to get out. And oh my goodness, those stacks. Those bad mojos putting in work, and that's going to be a Fearsome Shade, Holy Nova combo, going to stun Motivus. But I think Motivus is going to be able to take out Habs, though, with that double hook and chain on both the Baptiste and the Grace.
Yeah, we really saw the power of both of those captains here, as Emotivus was doing a lot of work with his hook and chains, but it just wasn't enough. The damage wasn't just wasn't there, as we see Darth Rick getting ordained here and jumping out of Dark.
Oh my goodness, going in after Eye Dark, though, and is going to run into Blur, and Blur is going to be able to melt him down while Ardark just sustains long enough to let him finish off the job, and that's going to be a gold mine for Login Station.
Yeah, that was a really good reflex block on Rick's part, but I think this is where you see the tilt starting to come in. He just went in blind by himself with no captain just to try to get Dark, and Blur was able to come down and take him out pretty easily. And tilt is the one thing that you don't want to be in Vainglory, because even if you're down 6,000 gold, like Phantom Memory is, you can still take a Kraken and a couple good pushes, and you can bring a game back.
Yeah, indeed. Like, I've had games in the past where we're down like 36 kills to 11, and just that one ace in the late game can just turn the tide so hard and give you that push that you need to where it doesn't matter that you have 20 kills less. You made your kills count, and that's what won you this game.
Jeez, Blake, 36 kills. How bad were you feeding?
I was feeding pretty bad because that was back in my hotness days.
Calling me out, I see. But we got a good rotation here by Login Station.
Oh, Nice Ordain is going to start, and Darth Rick, when he uses Into the Fray to get out of there. Holy Nova is going to land onto Motivus and slow him down long enough for Blur to get off some massive damage. And he's going to go down. Oh my goodness, Elijah poking his head out at the wrong place, wrong time. And he's just going to get chased down by the three of them. Try to kite as much as he can. Surrey striking over. Great positioning there. He's going to try to get out. Death from Above is going to lock down Dark. But Blur coming in from behind. Fearsome Shade is going to knock him down. And Blur is going to be able to finish off Elijah. They're going to be able to turn Divine Intervention coming out on Blur. Darth Rick going down heavily. The Echo coming down from Grace is going to be able to get another Divine Intervention off on Blur. And they're going to be able to get that double kill. And oh my goodness, there goes the Sentry.
Yeah, the Phantom Memories win condition here was to stick together so that Motivus can bring down those hook and chains, Torment yank them into range so that Rick can just spin to win on his Rona, but they're getting caught out by themselves. They can't, they're not taking fights when they're a three-man team. That's Login Station is rotating really well together, and that's why Churnwalker isn't doing the work that he needs to do, and this is why they're down 18-4.
Yeah, and Elijah on that Sky is doing some nice damage in these fights, but you see he only has that Aegis for Dark on the Baptiste. So Blur is recognizing this, and you see him focusing him really hard. But the Trespass followed by from the Death from Above is going to get that double stun off. Holy Nova is going to be able to stun Churnwalker. Blur is going to finally go down, but the Fearsome Shade is going to be able to fear them out of that. And Motivus getting really low. Holy Nova is going to come down, knock out Darth Rick, but Habs is going to be finished off there, and that might be the ace that they need. That's going to be a nice turnaround, and right when Kraken came up about a minute beforehand, they're going to be able to get this Kraken and get that first push that they need to bring this game back.
Oh man, that was the team fight that they needed to win. Down 6,000 gold, down a ton of kills. That's just got to feel so good mentally to be like, hey, we're still in this fight. We just took a Kraken. We took an ace. And now the turrets are even here. They could take 2 turrets out of this really good push here by Phantom Memory. Elijah is freshly infused. He's got that 2 damage items online. Rick's got an infusion in his inventory. And it seems like that Login Station doesn't have the gold right now to pick up infusions on their own. So now would be a really good chance for Phantom Memory to get back into this game.
Yeah, we do see Ringo taking the time to stay out of this fight for a minute to pick up that infusion. Death from Above is going to come down, not quite going to connect. Fearsome Shade is going to push Rona back a bit, but they're still going to get that turret. We see Blur coming in, ready for the fight, though. Does have that breaking point down. Hellfire Brew is going to come out, is going to get blocked by Elijah's reflex block. Darth Rick going in, trying to get onto Blur. Blur is trying to back up. Ordain is going to slow him down, and Blur is going to start dishing out that damage with that double tyrants that he has built into his
14 stacks already.
Oh my goodness. Elijah's going to go down to Blur. Blur up to 20 stacks is going to go after Darth Rick. He's going to be able to take on. Is he going to get Motivus? Journey moves up in 4 seconds. It's clearly going to be a kill for Blur, and that's going to be an ace. Are they going to be able to take out that Kraken in time? For sure, but I think it's going to possibly get one more turret before they take it out.
Yeah, that was a win for Phantom Memory, in my opinion. Even though they got aced, And the gold is only falling further in their not in their favor, I should say. There's only one vein crystal turret remaining. So that means if you can get 2 kills even, that could be enough for a good lane push, and then to close out the game. Whereas Login Station, they still have to get through 3 healthy turrets and a pretty scary looking Rona now that she's finished 2 defense items and with an infusion still online. So if Phantom Memory can play group together like they want to with this comp, I really think that they can bring this game back and force a game 3.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, just having that control that they're having, being able to knock onto Bloor. And like you said, if they can get 2 of them down, they can get an easy push on that last turret. And honestly, in my opinion, if they can just take out Bloor is their main damage dealer in these fights. You see Dark and Habs just frontlining for him. You see iDark is dealing a lot of damage with these bad Mojos, the Ordain, but he's facing more of the crowd control role to help out Habs in letting Bloor just melt them down with that Breaking Point Double Tyrant Spell Sword build. And it's working really heavily in their favor in these fights. There goes the Hellfire Brew, is going to go off, is going to get, not going to get blocked. Benediction coming down, Darth Rick taking some damage, Bloor just wanting to start building up those stacks. And, the Atlas is going to come down onto Bloor, looking to do some damage, though, is going to do some nice damage on Sky. Sky goes down, Darth Rick getting low, Darth Rick is next, Reflex Block is going to keep him up, and there goes a Fountain. And Motivus, just nothing he can do here. There's a divine intervention for the taunt. And that's going to be a Kraken. And, man, 40 seconds down. This is going to be close to game. Phantom Memories is going to have one small window to bring this back.
That was the worst possible situation for Phantom Memory. They had all the opportunities there. Darth Rick had a lot of sustain, but he just couldn't bring it out. And we see Bloor rushing these turrets. He might just take this whole game himself before Habs and Dark can even finish off this Kraken.
Yeah, go Bloor. Bloor looking to end the game right now. But,
oh my gosh, he's doing so much damage.
Man, just all the way, almost 3/4 of the way down. They are going to have that Kraken, though, on a bare crystal.
Yeah, this is looking pretty scary. The only chance I can see Phantom Memory winning is an ace, like right now, within 10 seconds, and then just base trade and take that win here. As we see the attack starting here.
Nice trespass coming down, but the divine intervention is going to come up, and iDark is going to get healed up. Fountain coming out. The pull, though, is going to bring him out of the forward barrage from Sky. Holy Nova is going to slow Elijah down. iDark just trying to stay alive, survive, and just stall for this Kraken. And they're looking for this ace, but they lost their chance to push. Bloor is up, and Kraken is just wailing on this crystal right now. They're not going to have much time to take it out.
Yeah, that was a win right there. Dark fell, but he delayed long enough for this Kraken to just start wailing on the turret, and I think that's going to be game 2 and this series going over to Login Station. Good game, well played to both teams.
Yeah, just really good job by both teams. You saw Phantom Memories did a really good job. That first Kraken push, that fight right before that push, they were able to just coordinate so well, lock onto Bloor, get that damage out of the way on the side of Login Station, and they were able to just get the rest of the team out one by one. And that gave them that push that they needed to start bringing this around, but they just were not able to secure these fights later on in the match.
Yeah, Bloor is my MVP for these 2 matches. He just did so much damage as the carry that they couldn't figure out if they wanted to target him and just delete him off the fold, or focus a jungler and get rid of that huge CC that was such a problem. But good game, well played. Do you wanna close it out, Blake?
Yeah, one last comment. I have to say regarding the MVP on Bloor. I definitely got to say MVP for that Ringo, because he was going in on his own, trusting his Grace to just have his back, and that was winning a lot of those fights. But glad you guys could watch us here, NACL. We had Phantom Memories versus Login Station. Login Station bringing it out 2-0. Good effort by both teams, but feel free to just stay on the channel. We got some more